Hello everybody, welcome again to Mariana in Yucatan, and in this video we're going to be talking about some common mistakes that some foreigners do when buying a property in Mexico and how you can avoid them. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Mariana. I am an immigration and property lawyer and certified real estate agent in the area of Yucatan and Quintana Roo in Mexico. And I love being able to guide my clients to reside, move, invest in Mexico, and make it the best, easiest process with the most information possible. So in my intent of making this information the most public possible, these videos are here to guide you. If you need more help, make sure to contact us on the details below and make your dream Mexico life a reality. So in my career as a property lawyer, before I actually became a certified real estate agent, my job was to help foreigners be able to decide, first of all, what the best strategy was for them to purchase a property in Mexico. And then with the help of the notary, which I will explain in a little bit what that means in Mexico, and with the help of the real estate agent, make that transaction the easiest and the safest possible. But also in that career, we found some big mistakes that people used to do because of maybe not having the right information, getting excited, and the trouble that that causes on just in general their idea of Mexico. But today I'm going to share with you those 3 common mistakes and how you can avoid them. Number 1, and the most important, I would say, not looking for legal advice. You guys don't know how many clients I've had that they tell me, I saw this property online, I loved it, I sent the money, or this developer, it looks great, I did like an AI section where I saw how the houses are gonna look like, and I sent the money, and just signed the contract electronically. Well, even though in maybe 50% of the chances or even more, this won't cause a problem for a foreigner, we've seen how it has. And here's the first legal mistake that you can avoid. First of all, it's very important that you have a legal representative, either your real estate agent or a lawyer such as myself, or somebody that knows about the legal side of Mexico, to do a title search or an investigation on the property that you want to purchase. This is to make sure, first of all, that the house or property or lot does not have liens, that if you're buying from a developer, that project has opportunities to be actually delivered. There is a lot of fraud with developers in Mexico, and it's really important to make sure about the reputation of that developer. And as well, to make sure that you have the right legal strategy. This will help you to avoid the pitfalls, the frauds, or maybe even later on having this property and going through an eviction process where you might lose the property. So it's very important to make sure that you have somebody looking out for your interests that knows the law in Mexico. Now that takes me to the second point, which is creating the right legal strategy. Now, you may know that in Mexico, we have a certain restriction when foreigners buy property. This is found in our constitution, and it talks about foreigners as individuals or foreign entities. This article pretty much summed up says that any property found inside a fringe around Mexico that is 50 kilometers, within 50 kilometers from ocean, or within 100 kilometers from borders is called a restricted zone. This means that no foreign individual or foreign company can purchase directly any property within this restricted zone, unless we go through some legal instituted options in which this foreigner can be either a beneficiary or an owner through a Mexican company. But most developers or real estate agents today will tell you do it through a trust, right? But what is really the benefit of doing it through a trust, or what other options do I have? Well, the bank trust is a very good option, very much used by a lot of our clients even, in which the seller of the property opens up a bank trust legally. Well, the bank trust is a very good option. It's actually most used option for our clients. And we normally suggest it when you're going to be using this property just for yourself, for your family, maybe to rent it out in Airbnb, but not necessarily doing a full-on business on this property. What the bank trust means, literally, is that the seller opens up this trust with a bank and then transfers the property to the bank trust. In the bank trust, it's a contract that is done with the bank before a notary, where the seller transfers the rights, being the beneficiary of this bank trust, to the buyer. So pretty much what happens in the end is that the owner legally is the bank as the institution, but the sole beneficiary of that trust, which includes the property, is you as the foreigner. Again, as mentioned before, this allows you to rent the property in Airbnb, vacation rental. It allows you to sell it in the future. It allows you to live on it, etc., as long as you comply with two things: paying the bank their annual fees and making sure to use it only for residential purpose. The other way is doing it through a Mexican company, which if you're going to do it for a business and buy various properties, it might be a good option, because since a corporation, of course, needs follow-up with accountants, with lawyers, then it makes sense to use it if you're going to be buying more properties and doing this as a business. We will do a video later on these two options more fully, but as of now, the right thing is to get the right legal strategy for you. And mistake number 3 is thinking that the notary is going to represent you. Now, this is where I like to explain always to my clients what being a notary means in Mexico. I know that a notary, for example, in countries such as the United States, can be just, a lawyer or somebody in a UPS office which just certifies documents. Normally we have law firms, and notaries are, below the law firms. In Mexico, this is totally around. We normally have a notary, which is a position that the government gives to a certain lawyer that has to go through certifications and etc. They are the only ones who can give faith and register something as a purchase of a property in Mexico. So this position is almost, very difficult for a lawyer to attain. Now, the notary has lawyers working for them, which of course help them with the normal, doing the project, gathering the information. Although this institution works great in itself, really the notary and lawyers are not representing you directly. They are representing the whole transaction, which means they will look out for the personal interests of both parties. So it's important to know this, because sometimes clients, because of not wanting to spend more, and it's totally understandable, they decide for the notary to do everything. But the notary won't remind you that you have certain payments with the bank trust. They won't remind you your obligations. And sometimes they might be sloppy and make mistakes in the project, which can cause a lot of problems in the future. So it's always good to have a lawyer that represents your interests and can be the bridge between the notary and you as the future owner of that property. So these are the 3 common mistakes that you need to avoid if you are buying a property in Mexico in 2025. And of course, if you are ready to be a homeowner in Mexico and need any help with these matters, or immigration, or even finding the best property that suits your needs, make sure to contact us on the information down below, and we would love to help you. And keep on the lookout for the next videos talking about all legal in Mexico. Bye.